When I found out my husband was cheating, I didn't cry or make a fuss. He immediately gifted me a supercar worth tens of billions. His little secretary, clearly trying to provoke me, deliberately hung a cheap, glittering doll keychain on the car key. This girl is still so green. I wasn't angry, I just smiled. Honey, you're really putting this $1,000 trinket on my car key? People will think we're bankrupt. What were you thinking? The very next second, my phone buzzed with an 8-figure transfer. I thoughtfully closed the door for them, then turned and went shopping with my best friend. Why make a scene? I'm the one spending the money, she's the one serving him. And if I so much as speak harshly to her, I'll be seen as unreasonable. There was a cheese-scented rubber ball in the car. My husband, whose name is Frederick Yatt, had driven this car yesterday. Even though the ball hadn't been unwrapped, its presence said it all. Frederick and I have been married for 3 years. This cheese smell, I'd only ever encountered it in those TV dramas. I sat there, staring at the car's logo on the steering wheel, feeling utterly disgusted. This car cost $500 million. Such a waste. I messaged him. Hubby, my car caught fire. I almost fainted from fright. I sent a few accompanying pictures. A few seconds later, Frederick replied. Whatever you like, I'll buy you a new car. It was almost midnight when he called me. His voice was just like when he was drunk, full of natural command. Susu, come pick me up. I was soaking in the bathtub, sipping wine and watching a movie, feeling absolutely blissful. I tried to convey a sense of reluctance in my voice. Did you forget? I don't have a car anymore. Frederick was silent for a few seconds. I heard a syrupy female voice on the other end, calling him, President Frederick. I calmly stated. Then don't come home tonight. Find a hotel to stay at. He wasn't polite either. Send me the hotel address. I'll have someone bring clean clothes in the morning. Okay. An hour later, I received a message with the hotel name and room number. Did I plan to catch them in the act? Not at all. I was too busy getting my beauty sleep. No matter how big the issue, it could wait until tomorrow. I thought I'd given him enough time to clean things up. Unexpectedly, the next morning, the scene before me still made me want to flip the table. In the room, a young woman stood huddled, her eyes brimming with tears. Her clothes were disheveled, clearly in a state of disarray. Frederick sat on the bed, his face crumpled as if in pain from a headache. Before I could even say anything, the young woman was on the verge of tears, as if about to commit suicide. Sister, I didn't do anything. I just stayed to take care of President Frederick. That voice, it was familiar. Exactly like the voice from the dashcam the day before. I looked back and forth between the two of them. Frederick was about to open his mouth, but I beat him to it. I chuckled. I haven't said anything yet, why are you panicking? I should be thanking you, actually. I turned to my husband, smiling. Pay her, honey. Both of them froze. After a moment, Frederick's voice was stiff. What did you say? She took care of you all night. It's overtime, after all. Shouldn't she be paid? The secretary heard this, and tears nearly welled up. President Frederick, it's not necessary. Frederick was visibly annoyed. My wife told you to take it, so take it. I happily watched her shakily take the money, feeling extremely pleased. I said. All right, you must be tired after a whole night. Take the day off. She pursed her lips, on the verge of crying. After I spoke, she remained rooted to the spot, her eyes fixed on Frederick. I smiled brightly, sat down on the bed, pulled my husband's arm, and patted it gently. You only listen when the boss speaks, right? Frederick frowned, and softly said. If my wife says take a break, then take a break. What are you still doing here? As soon as he finished speaking, the poor secretary finally left, but still kept looking back as she went. I was still furious. That demeanor, did she think I wouldn't notice? The little secretary left, leaving only Frederick and me in the room. Staying here for another minute made me nauseous. I was thinking of an excuse to leave early when my phone rang. After hanging up, Frederick's gaze fixed on me. "Do you have something to do?" I held up my phone, tilting my head to look at him. "Kiki asked me to go shopping." Frederick nodded. "I have a headache, I can't take you." I smiled. "It's all right." I just kept staring at him. Until he took a card from his wallet and handed it to me. "Have fun." "Okay." I happily accepted it, put it in my bag, and cheerfully stood up to leave. Before I walked out, I clearly saw Frederick's lips move, as if he wanted to say something but stopped himself. "A balloon?" My best friend's eyes widened in disbelief. She never imagined someone as outwardly proper as Frederick would do such a thing. She frowned and clicked her tongue. "Right in your car too, how disgusting." She carefully observed my expression, feeling something was amiss. "What's with that look?" I laughed and clapped my hands. "It's funny you mention it, that car, it burned down." "Car fire?" My friend froze for a few seconds, then immediately gave me a thumbs up. "You're still the master. So, you have to get a new car now?" I grinned widely. "Of course." She indignantly suggested. "Choose the newest, most expensive one for me." After a fit of laughter, she was still a little worried. "So, are you really going to divorce him?" "Of course." She quickly pulled her phone from her pocket. "I know a super reliable lawyer, let me introduce you." I waved my hand. "No need for a lawyer yet." "No need?" She looked at me as if I'd hit my head. "Aren't you afraid he'll strip you bare?" I leisurely crossed my legs. I'm not some noble female lead from a novel. Before the divorce, I need to be like Sun Wukong, I need to stir up a real storm. I have to make him sick to his stomach. When I got home that afternoon, I held the dashcam's memory card, playing it over and over. I was thinking, what's the use of keeping this? Actually, it served no purpose other than to prove Frederick's innocence. They hadn't done anything. But that very fact gnawed at me even more. I have OCD, especially when it comes to relationships. Frederick and I have been in love for 7 years, married for 3. I cannot accept anything impure existing in my marriage. I am not the most perfect person. I can accept a peaceful breakup, but I will not accept a third party interfering with my marriage. I watched that video many times. I wasn't sure what I wanted to hear from it, but the more I listened, the colder my heart grew. In the dashcam recording, Frederick's voice was so tender it could be wrung out. But pouring into my heart, it was like a knife. The girl's voice was soft, young, accompanied by a sob that could move any man. "President Frederick, it's my fault. I shouldn't think too much." Frederick sighed softly. Finally, he couldn't help but gently soothe her. "Don't cry anymore, you won't be pretty if you keep crying." He had never comforted me like that. To me, his face was always as cold as an ice sculpture. He said he loved me, but our emotional world was as cold as living in the polar regions. He always respected me, restrained and polite, never even taking the initiative in bed. When we first got married, being young, I couldn't see any love in his eyes. So I asked, "Do you really love me?" His expression didn't waver, and his voice was extremely measured. "If I didn't love you, I wouldn't have married you. There's no need to doubt this. When people are young, they're always wet, even their brains are full of water." I really believed him. I thought it was just his quiet personality. But obviously, he could be gentle, he could comfort others. Thinking about that, I almost went crazy. Well then, consider it jealousy. I have to get a divorce. Once again, I was even more certain of my decision. No matter how clean they were, it was useless. On the 3rd day after I decided to divorce, I was at home choosing a new car, the kind that would make Frederick's heart ache just by looking at the price. But the car was already delivered to my doorstep. It was a model and color I had always liked, had been eyeing for a long time. The on-road price would definitely be an 8-figure sum. Before, I thought it was a bit expensive, and a bit too luxurious for a new driver like me. The delivery person respectfully handed me the keys with both hands. "Madam Frederick, this is the car President Frederick instructed us to bring for you. All procedures are complete." I took the keys, but the glittering cartoon character keychain nearly blinded me. It was a Hello Kitty encrusted with fake diamonds. I shook it in the sunlight. It looked amusing, really. But no matter how sparkling it was, it couldn't hide its cheapness. After all, the things on it were just plastic beads. Not even as good as artificial crystal. I slowly opened my mouth. "Did Frederick also tell you to put this on?" The employee scratched the back of his head. "A young lady who came to help President Frederick run an errand this morning gave it to me, saying that Madam liked it, so it must be President Frederick's idea." He didn't forget to flatter. President Frederick is so thoughtful, remembering even Madam's small preferences. It's truly admirable. A young lady? How interesting. This little girl wants to put a rat dropping in my grand feast. So meddlesome, it seems she can't hold back anymore. After the delivery person left, I took out the documents to look at them. The name on them was mine. An hour later, I drove to the company. Right outside Frederick's office, I met the girl from the hotel that day again. Her eyes were fixed on the car key in my hand. I smiled and greeted her. "So you're Frederick's new secretary. No wonder I've never seen you before." I spoke, and she was forced to stand up. "Hello, madam. I'm Hannah Young." "Hannah Vane?" I raised an eyebrow at her. "How do you spell that?" I could feel her little teeth grinding. She ground her teeth and enunciated each word. "Hannah as in language, Young as in appearance." I feigned sudden understanding. "Ah, I see. Indeed, a person is like their name." The little girl's face flushed from her neck to her ears. I patted her shoulder gently. "Working beside Frederick must be tough for you." Mentioning Frederick, she immediately broke into a vibrant smile. "It's my honor to work alongside President Frederick." I smiled knowingly. "Well then, I'm going in to see Frederick." Frederick didn't seem surprised to see me at all. Even the appropriate smile on his face was already prepared. As if he knew I would come. And perhaps he also knew why my old car suddenly caught fire. After all, the speed of sending this new car was suspiciously fast. So fast that it made me feel like he had a guilty conscience. I held up the car key and shook it. "Thank you for the new car. And for the cute Hello Kitty too." "Huh? What?" I feigned surprise. "This keychain full of stones, wasn't it from you?" Frederick's eyebrows clearly furrowed slightly, but quickly relaxed. "As long as you like it." I subtly curled my lips. "But you already bought a car worth tens of billions, why would you hang this trash on it to annoy me?" I chuckled. "If I carry this out, people might think President Frederick's wife accidentally took a fake key to show off. What then?" "What?" Frederick frowned, looking puzzled. I brought the doll close to him to let him see. "You dare to hang this thing on my car key? What were you thinking?" Frederick's expression began to become unnatural, and he coughed softly. The next second, my phone buzzed with an 8-figure transfer. When he looked back at me, his expression immediately returned to normal. "Sorry, I don't really understand these things. Go exchange it for something you like." Yes, 8 figures really are omnipotent. They can instantly brighten my mood. I put my phone away and changed the subject. "Oh, when did your secretary change? Wasn't it Thomas Zhang before?" Before, his secretary was male. A very reliable person. Frederick reached up and scratched his nose. Thomas Zhang was transferred to the branch. This is the new secretary. I watched his every small movement, and my heart grew even colder. Finally, I forced a smile and nodded. "Oh." I asked again, That young lady, is she capable? I clearly saw Frederick's hand clench into a fist. The answer no longer mattered. I turned and walked away, waving my hand. I'm leaving now, going to visit Mom for a bit. I went to visit Frederick's mother. I don't have a mother. Only a father. I was his treasured possession. But even so, he didn't extend the expiration date of his love for my mother for my sake. He had an affair with a subordinate, and my mother, too proud, jumped from a building to commit suicide. I loved them both. But I hated them equally. It's a very contradictory feeling. Now, thinking back, I find my mother was incredibly foolish. Just for a little pride, she abandoned even her own daughter. Is love that important? It's good to have it, but it's fine without it. To sacrifice one's life just for a man. Did she think that was noble? Did she think she could make someone regret it for life? Little did she know, as soon as she was laid to rest, my father, overwhelmed with grief, was busy in the arms of other women. A rich man in pain, why wouldn't he be valuable? My mother was truly foolish beyond words. As soon as I stepped through the door, Frederick's mother brought out a bowl of soup. Then she pointed to it, urging me to drink it quickly. I knew immediately what it was. Those sun-nurturing tonics popular among ladies of high society. Before, even though I didn't like it, I would force myself to swallow it out of respect for Frederick. But today, I wasn't here to save anyone's face. I deliberately showed a difficult expression, and she, of course, noticed immediately. Anna, what's wrong? She cautiously asked. Did you and Frederick have a fight? I shook my head, hugging her arm. No, Mom. Then why won't you drink the soup? Seeing my silence, she frowned and asked. Don't tell me you two aren't planning to have children? I tried to squeeze out a few tears. Mom, I tried my best, but... In Frederick's mother's astonished eyes, I began to recount the carefully prepared story. I secretly went for a comprehensive health checkup. The doctor said my body is completely normal. I deliberately paused at the right moment, allowing her to imagine freely. Her lips trembled. What do you mean? I feigned a wronged expression. The doctor said, it's very likely that. Frederick's mother immediately exploded. Don't talk nonsense. I pulled her hand, saying pitifully. Mom, I also want to have children. But this... I'm really helpless. Her eyes scrutinized me several times, and finally, she sat down with a disappointed thud. This? Frederick, he... I don't dare tell him, men have very high self-esteem. I can only admit it's my fault. Upon hearing this, her expression noticeably softened. She patted my hand. You've had a tough time. Stepping out of the old Frederick family home, my hand wore a pair of jadeite bracelets. Under the sunlight, they emitted a brilliant, high-quality sparkle. When she gave them to me, Frederick's mother didn't forget to emphasize that these were brought back by old Mr. Frederick from an auction, costing hundreds of millions. Frederick is busy with work. You must be more understanding of him. Of course. As long as there's money, I can be understanding of the entire ocean. I wasn't wronging Frederick at all. Not having children for several years of marriage was originally his idea. So, saying I was wrongly accusing him wasn't accurate either. As for his intentions? Who cares? Wearing bracelets worth hundreds of millions, I felt I needed to show them off a bit. So I called my best friend. Come out. Let's discuss that thing you mentioned before again. A long time ago, my best friend gossiped with me about the Frederick family's past. It involved Frederick's father's illegitimate child. At the time, I wasn't interested, but now it's different. I want to know the whole story. My friend acted haughty. Show me your begging face. I respectfully handed her the diamond-studded bracelet she had been drooling over all week. Her eyes lit up, and she immediately started spilling the beans. Frederick's father had countless women outside, but only one illegitimate child. My dad said she's even older than Frederick. This kind of thing is genetic. But to maintain the family, Frederick's father paid a huge sum of money, sent her to live abroad, and strictly forbade her from returning. This matter has been suppressed for so many years, and he still keeps it under wraps. I listened to her tell it like a TV drama, still doubting. Are you sure? Don't trick me. She crossed her arms, her expression unwavering. My dad and Frederick's dad are sworn brothers, they've worn the same pair of pants since they were kids. I still wasn't convinced. Then why would he tell you such a shocking secret? Knowing you're a big mouth, and you're close to me? She stuck out her tongue. It's your fault. That day, I got him dead drunk, and he spilled everything I asked. All right then. I believe it. Afterward, I hired a private investigator. I only need information and contact methods. Don't alarm anyone. That evening, Frederick came home, looking visibly tired. He sat on the sofa and called me. I have to go abroad for a few days. Could you help me pack? As usual, I replied. Yes, of course. Then I asked. Are you going alone? Will a driver take you? Or should I see you off at the airport? He shook his head, then as if remembering something, he only chose one sentence to answer. Please wake up early and take me to the airport. In the middle of the night, Frederick was asleep. I, however, tossed and turned, unable to close my eyes. I went down to the kitchen for water, passing by the living room, and saw Frederick's suitcase neatly placed by the door. I suddenly wanted to open that Pandora's box and take a look. Even though I packed it, he took it out himself to rearrange it. Checking it one more time wouldn't hurt. I gently opened the suitcase. And in his pant pocket, I once again saw that little balloon. I can't describe my emotions. I stayed up all night, but the next morning I still woke up early to make breakfast as usual. Then, with dark circles under my eyes, I saw Frederick off at the airport. And just as I predicted, Hannah Young was accompanying him. Seeing Hannah Young step out of his car, I almost couldn't control my expression. She cheerfully hopped out of the car, pulling a tiny pink Hello Kitty suitcase behind her. Gone was the reserved demeanor from the day before, she was completely relaxed. That giddy look, typical of a winner. Sorry, madam. Originally, the driver was supposed to pick up President Frederick, but my house is too far, and I overslept, so I was afraid of missing the flight, and the driver came to pick me up first. I'm so sorry for troubling you, waking up early to take the president to the airport. Every sentence was an explanation, but every sentence was also a boast. I silently watched her act. Frederick, beside me, began to show impatience. Go check in. Her chattering mouth suddenly fell silent. She bit her lip, obediently bowing her head. Yes. After the young girl left, Frederick squeezed my hand tightly. He seemed to be deliberating something. Finally, he spoke. How about you come with me? I looked at him for 2 seconds, then burst out laughing. What are you saying? You've never taken me on a business trip before. In the distance, on the other side, I saw Hannah Young. I gently pushed his shoulder. Go on, hurry. That little girl is waiting for you. Frederick frowned, showing a rare discomfort, and for the first time proactively explained. It's not just me and her, the whole team already flew over. I started to get curious. He didn't even bother to explain the hotel stay, yet this time he voluntarily spoke up. Frederick seemed to be hiding something. You've never been abroad with me. How about you come with me this time? I still refused. Frederick had no choice, this rare departure saw him turn his head 3 times. As for me, I only turned back once, and saw Hannah Young pulling his sleeve, still chattering away. Frederick wanted me to take action myself to stop things from spiraling out of control. But I didn't want to anymore. In fact, I even hoped they would speed things up a bit. I can't wait any longer. Frederick was away on a business trip for 5 days. Every evening, I received a video call from him. It was morning over there, while it was night here. I thought you liked to sleep in during the mornings, so I could only call at this time. He seemed stubbornly intent on proving something, and I could only cooperate and play the loving couple for the show. I knew exactly what he was doing there. He was going to sign a cooperation agreement with a foreign enterprise. It was very important, so he went himself. And the big boss over there, the last time he came to China, Frederick and I hosted him together. At the party, Frederick fully displayed the image of a thoughtful gentleman, gentle with his wife. When we got home, I teased him about how unusual he was that day, asking if he drank a lot. He massaged the bridge of his nose, honestly saying, "Mr. Weiss values marital relationships very much." At that time I was a little angry, raising an eyebrow to question him. "So, you were pretending? Couldn't you fool me a little? These outward displays, are they that important?" He didn't wait for my reply, turning his back and walking into the bathroom. Back then, I really wanted to grab him by the collar and tell him. The outward expression of love is extremely important. But I didn't say it. I thought everyone had their own personality. When in love, everyone has different ways of expressing it. Now, thinking back, I feel incredibly foolish. While Frederick was still abroad, news about the Frederick group surged domestically. In a short time, the Frederick family seemed to ride the wind. Parallel to that, the media incessantly promoted the romantic love story of Frederick and his wife. Romantic? I found it repulsive. I added all related keywords to my don't suggest list. Only then could I have some peace. A few peaceful days passed until just before Frederick's return. He messaged me, asking me to pick him up at the airport. I really wanted to laugh. In 3 years, I had never seen him so clingy. Something unusual was definitely going on. But I still went. After all, appearances should be maintained. I wore sunglasses, standing next to a crowd of reporters in the arrivals area, waiting for Frederick to emerge. Beside him was Hannah Young, smiling like a blooming flower. At that moment, I could only sigh, youth is truly wonderful. Working intensely abroad for so many days, and she was still like a vibrant sunflower. Yes, if it were me, I'd like it too. I used to be like that. It was Frederick, that mobile freezer, who made me freeze solid. I was thinking when he walked up to me. My hands were empty, which perhaps made him a little awkward. He probably thought, in any case, there should be a bouquet of flowers. Just before the reporters swarmed, Hannah Young pulled a rose from a paper bag. She smiled brightly and handed it to me. "Madam must be too emotional and forgot to buy flowers, right? Then I'll temporarily lend you this one. This is a specially cultivated unique rose from the land of flowers, you know. President Frederick bought it personally, there's only one." I didn't take it. She bowed her head, and her scarf slipped down at that moment. Hannah Young's scarf slipped down, revealing smooth, white skin with faint red bruises. She quickly covered it, feigning awkwardness as she tidied up, then offered me a polite sorry smile. But her eyes were filled with smugness. I just slightly curved my lips, raising my head to look at Frederick. "Do you need this?" Frederick's gaze didn't even glance at Hannah Young. His arm went around my shoulder, and a rare gentle smile shone in his eyes for the media. "You're taking the time to pick me up is already the best gift." As he spoke, he pulled a small box from his suit pocket and handed it to me. "A gift for you." Amidst the cheers of the reporters, he opened the box. Inside was a pink diamond ring, sparkling like the flashing lights on a stage. "This ring symbolizes our unique love." He took my hand, but then suddenly paused. On my ring finger, where my wedding ring should have been, there was only a faint indentation. Frederick froze slightly, looking up at me. I still wore a radiant smile, dazzlingly bright. I knew he wanted to ask. But there were cameras pointed directly at us. He quickly controlled his emotions, slipping the glittering pink diamond ring onto my finger, right where the wedding ring used to be. A reporter spoke up. "President Frederick, after this successful business trip and signing, do you have anything you'd like to share?" Frederick took my hand, turning to the cameras with a well-rehearsed, deep-seated expression. I want to thank my wife. Thank her for always supporting and forgiving me. I wanted to vomit right there. Not because I was pregnant, but because it was disgusting. But thinking of that 10-carat pink diamond, I still smiled, shining brighter than anyone in the crowd that day. After the ring incident, Frederick didn't mention it again when he got home. It was just that when I put away the pink diamond ring, his eyes, looking at my empty hand, began to show clear discomfort. You always wore your ring before, why don't you wear it now? I wore the ring before because I loved him. Now I don't wear it, naturally because I've fallen out of love. But I still found a good reason to appease him. I've been learning pottery lately. I'd be sad if I accidentally got it dirty or lost it. I even pouted. If I wear the ring, my teacher wouldn't even dare touch my hand. Frederick raised an eyebrow slightly, seemingly suspicious. When did you become interested in ceramics? I looked up at him. Always liked it. It's just now I'm actually starting to do it. Creating things I like with my own hands feels very interesting. For my major, I want to combine it with opening a small studio. I studied music in college and joined an orchestra after graduating. But I didn't like the life in that orchestra. After getting married, I quit my job. Then, following my hobbies, I did some small jobs to earn extra income. With Frederick and my father backing me, I earned quite a bit. But thinking about it, that's not a long-term path. Before, whenever I said I wanted to start my own business, Frederick always found various excuses to dismiss it, telling me that staying home freely was better. Now looking back, this damned man wasn't loving at all, but rather forcing me into a background CPU running state for easier control. Yet today, he nodded without hesitation. Go scout for locations, and I'll take care of the rest. I looked at him, smiling contentedly. Whatever was hidden in his decisive action, I no longer wanted to guess. A week later, Frederick bought the commercial property I had already targeted. When the property deed was placed in my hand, I opened it and saw my name as the owner. Excellent. A property in this location is worth at least tens of billions. Hannah Young indeed did not disappoint me. A month after returning from abroad, she came to find me. Her face was beaming, as if the man she loved wasn't my husband, but her own single man. At first glance, I looked like her mother, because only a mother would share this kind of first baby on the way joy. Madam Frederick, I'm 1 month pregnant. I raised an eyebrow at her, almost bursting into laughter. Miss Young, I think you've come to the wrong person to share your good news. Hannah Young's small face was full of stubbornness. This is President Frederick's child. And? I burst out laughing. It's not my child, why are you telling me? Madam Frederick, President Frederick and I. She hadn't finished speaking when I cut her off. Whatever you and President Frederick are doing has nothing to do with me. You can declare to the whole world that you're a mistress, unmarried with a child, the bigger the sensation, the better. As for me? I'm not interested. I picked up my bag to leave, but Hannah Young called me back angrily. He said he never loved you. What's the point of you being his wife? He gave me roses. Did you ever get one? I turned back to look at her, incredulous. Autumn has arrived, how is there still a sprout of spring like you left? He doesn't love me, he loves you, so are you happy now? I crossed my arms, calmly saying. You have the rose, yes. But the house is mine. The diamond ring is mine. My eyes looked at her with contempt. And the bouquet you're cherishing, it's also our marital property. I generously sprinkled a little for you, you should know better and be happy. And if I'm not happy anymore, I can completely take back everything. I smiled, growing more radiant. Even if it's just a single rose. I picked up my bag and left. At the same time, I ended the ongoing call with Frederick. I didn't go home, but drove straight to the newly purchased apartment. A month was enough for me to turn that place into my favorite space. In the evening, my phone rang incessantly. Perhaps because Frederick had seen the divorce papers I left on the table. The terms in it were, of course, anything but fair. I wanted more than he expected. Money, who doesn't like money? Other evidence wasn't important, I just sent him the audio recording of today's conversation with Hannah Young. Along with a message. If you don't want a peaceful divorce, then let's make it known to the whole world. Perhaps no one cares about a cheating man. But his business partners do. If this story gets out, ruining a few deals. I think the heir to the Frederick Group should be changed. Frederick still found my new place in the middle of the night. I woke up, turned on the camera on the door, and almost laughed out loud. Through the screen, I saw him standing outside the door from 2 in the morning, until 10 in the morning when the sun was high, still hadn't left. I leaned against the door, looking at him. President Frederick, aren't you tired? Frederick had been up all night, his chin covered in stubble. He looked like a Pekingese dog covered in mud. Only one night apart, but it felt like a lifetime. His voice was hoarse, as he struggled to speak. She and I, there's nothing going on. As soon as I heard that, I knew it was the joke of the century. Then is the baby in her belly mine? Frederick impatiently ruffled his hair. I don't know whose it is, but it's not mine. I opened my phone, zooming in on that picture right in front of him. Are you saying, this thing in your suitcase was put there by my virtuous self to help you? Frederick looked at the picture, biting his lip tightly. I did bring it, but I never did anything. I laughed until I squatted on the ground, laughing until I could barely breathe. It took a while before I calmed down, looking up at him. Don't you think these words are ridiculous? I admit, I was interested in her, but I never did anything wrong to you. I sprung to my feet, raised my hand, slap. A slap landed directly on his face. Looking at his face, skewed from the blow, my OCD flared up. I immediately raised my other hand, slap. His face was red on both sides, perfectly symmetrical. Much more satisfying to look at. 3 years of marriage, 10 years of acquaintance, this was the first time I had ever laid a hand on him. These 2 slaps, consider them the end of everything. I won't sign the divorce papers, Anna. The one I've always loved is you. She was just a novelty. I swear, I truly wanted to separate peacefully. But that sentence of his, it was incredibly grating. A novelty? What does that mean? You mean I'm no longer new, I'm past my expiration date, right? What do you take me for? An Egyptian mummy? Frederick yet refused to sign the divorce papers. I had anticipated that. Anna, I love you. What do I need to do for you to believe me? You really love me? Frederick's eyes were bloodshot, looking as if he was the one who had been betrayed, not me. I'm willing to give you everything, just please don't divorce me. Everything ready? I chuckled. When there wasn't a single drop of foolishness left in my head, I wasn't going to be a saint. All right. Let's see how sincere you are. Over the next week, lawyers appeared at my door one after another, carrying all sorts of documents for me to sign. This is the transfer agreement for 2 villas on Lijiang Road. As soon as you sign, we'll handle all the remaining procedures. This is the transfer agreement for 19 commercial apartments, including the Cloud Peak building. One by one, that was his way of showing his sincerity. I signed without hesitation. If he wanted to give, I would take it all. After everything was finalized, I brought the divorce papers back to Frederick. He looked noticeably thinner. But I didn't care, it had nothing to do with me. Frederick frowned, looking at me. Anna, I won't sign. When I got home, I received a call from my father. His voice on the other end sounded earnest, but every word felt like it was piercing my heart. Anna, Frederick said he didn't do anything wrong. Why can't you give him a break? Is it because I spoiled you too much that you've turned out like this? Divorce isn't something you can just say and do. I let out a cold laugh. All of them were the same. In the eyes of outsiders, they loved me to the core. But behind my back, how did they treat me? The so-called pampering was nothing more than a twisted form of compensation. One betrayed my mother, so he treated me like a fragile egg. The other claimed he didn't betray me, but repeatedly did suspicious things as compensation. I angrily threw my phone. You are the ones who wronged me, not the other way around. Frederick still wouldn't sign. But at least, he stopped coming to find me. From what I heard, the Frederick family was now in utter chaos. Frederick's father was a typical old-fashioned man. Hearing whispers that Frederick had problems, he panicked, fearing the Frederick family would have no heir. So, he brazenly brought his illegitimate child back from abroad, preparing for a formal recognition. Frederick's mother, a woman who had been proud of her happy marriage all her life, finally discovered that even before they were married, her husband already had an illegitimate child outside. She couldn't bear it, the house was in an uproar like a hot pot. Frederick must have had a headache the size of a basin by now. Our next reunion was a month later. He looked several years older, no longer carrying his old arrogance, and silently handed me a DNA test result. For the first time in 10 years of knowing each other, Frederick patiently spoke to me, his voice soft, almost condescending. The baby isn't mine. She and I truly had nothing going on. That night abroad, I did drink, but I was very clear-headed, and I controlled myself. We didn't go all the way. The baby is because she was unwilling and deliberately found someone else to get pregnant. I did nothing wrong to you. I smiled, calmly. I believe you. Frederick's eyes immediately lit up with hope. But then, my words extinguished all traces of light. But, we can't go back anymore. The way you were gentle with her, I've never seen that. Consider me jealous. Your mind has already contained someone else, so now. I don't need you anymore. I pushed the divorce papers in front of him. Let's end this peacefully. Frederick hesitated for a few seconds, then signed without hesitation. I asked, "Didn't you read the terms? Aren't you afraid I'd ask for too much?" Frederick shook his head. "Everything I have, I'm willing to give you. I only regret not having children with you sooner, so I could have held on to you. If we had children when we first got married, would it have been different?" I looked at the man in front of me, unsure how to feel. In the end, he still didn't know where he went wrong, only regretting not having children to bind me. After a long while, I softly said, "I'm glad we didn't have children. Because things that were wrong from the start, no matter how wrong they were still wrong. There's no such thing as if in this world." The day we went to get the divorce certificate, Frederick was dressed entirely in black, just like the day we first met. I knew a lot had happened recently with the Frederick group, he surely wasn't living an easy life. But, that was no longer my concern. It was all his own doing. As for me, at most, it was just a casual story to entertain myself. I held the dark red divorce paper in my hand and gently waved goodbye to him. Mountain birds and fish don't share the same path, from now on, mountains and rivers shall not meet again. The first time I met Anna, the radiant smile on her face was like a ray of light shining directly into my heart. She smiled brightly. "You're so handsome, can you be my boyfriend?" I refused. She wasn't sad at all. She still followed me with a cheerful smile every day. One day, after school, when I didn't see her, I suddenly felt a little lost. I called her. "Where are you?" She said she had been in a bicycle accident. I asked for the address and immediately rushed to the hospital. When I arrived, I found out she had only fallen off her bike. At that moment, I realized I truly cared about her. Her phone number, even after hearing it only once, I remembered. Anna feigned pitifulness, holding up her scraped hand. It hurt so much. I pursed my lips, sitting down next to her. Then what should I do? Her eyes twinkled mischievously. "A blow will make it all better." Knowing full well she was acting, I still bent down and blew gently. Later, we got married. I was busy managing the company, not letting her do anything. I only wished for her to always be happy. Until one day, I noticed that smile had disappeared from her face. I thought it was because she had matured. It wasn't until the divorce that I realized she had never been truly happy. What I thought was best turned out to have never been what she needed. Hannah Young came for an interview, and I thought I saw a second Anna. I kept her by my side, instinctively treating her a little better than others. I thought I was just being kind to a young girl, but then one day she sat in the car and told me she loved me. At that moment, I realized I had crossed a line. But facing those tear-filled eyes, I couldn't say hurtful words. I just told her, "We are only a superior-subordinate relationship." She cried. I thought she understood. But gradually, I realized she was overstepping boundaries. She was obedient in front of me, but behind my back, she played many tricks. Anna seemed not to care. I thought she had matured. I started to compensate, but the more I compensated, the more it felt insufficient. Anna became more and more obedient, and also less and less in need of me. Until my father brought back from abroad the older brother I had never known. Only then did I understand, Anna had long decided to leave me. In that supposed maturity, she had drifted further and further away from me. I once witnessed my father with one woman after another. I hated him to the bone. But in the end, I was worse than him. Lord Frederick was 2 years older than me. I thought he was just living a carefree, unambitious life abroad. Yet, he humbly bowed his head to me, his eyes full of contempt. "Little brother, I'll need your guidance from now on." I had never admitted defeat to anyone. But this time, I lost. It's okay. Anyway, all my movable and immovable assets, I have already given to Anna. I signed the divorce papers decisively. My father called me foolish. But allowing those things to fall into the hands of outsiders would be truly foolish. And,